Hi, this is Gene Acasella from Port St. John, Florida, and you're listening to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
In a world permeated with barbecue websites under the control of tyrannical administrators, there was one man, a one-man army. He broke all the rules. He allowed his members to speak out, give their opinions, and make the website what it is today. Get ready for Greg Rempe and the Barbecue Central Show.
Live from Cleveland, Ohio, it's the Barbecue Central Show.
Welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. Hey now. This is the Barbecue Central Show, and we talk about important things that are happening in the world of barbecue and grilling. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe, and we originate from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. It is the barbecue capital of the North Coast. All jazzed up to have you right here. If you want to jump in on the show this evening, you can do it through the phone call. You can do it through the email. Either way you decide you want to do it, this is how you do it.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening coming up in about 12 minutes from now. It is the third Tuesday of the month, and that means we have a pair of regular visitors. One is a Barbecue Hall of Famer and a Barbecue Central Show guest Hall of Famer. The other one is a creator of a very popular online presence when it comes to live fire cooking. Also, I believe a Barbecue Central Show guest Hall of Famer, but I might be wrong. I don't remember right off the top of my head. I do need to search this. 12 days. I was looking for the 12 days of barbecue Christmas. And of course, I'm not finding that. Of barbecue Xmas. Just going through the Tower of Power to see if we have anything readily available. No. I see somebody in the chat room was saying, hey, we need to record a barbecue rap because of my intro music, which, of course, is Run DMC, Christmas and Hanukkah. And while I don't remember doing any kind of Christmas rap, I do specifically recall many years ago dropping the 12 Days of Barbecue Christmas, which the guys at Hot Grill on Grill Action actually penned the lyrics, sent them to me. We found a 12 Days of Christmas, like, techno track. And then it was myself and my three daughters, much younger than they are at this stage of the game. And we all lay down on the first day of Barbecue Christmas, and we just went from there. I think there was a case of cold Coors Light at the end. Very fun. I'll have to try and find that, repost it up on some of the social medias. Anyway, I'm off track. Coming up in about 11 minutes from now, you have a third Tuesday of the month regular guest, a Barbecue Hall of Famer, Barbecue Central Show guest Hall of Famer, a cooking class instructor, a cookbook writer of prolific proportions, and the list goes on and on. Stephen Raichlen will be joining us. Then we will move to 35 past the hour, where the other third Tuesday of the month guest will stop by. She's the creator of GrillGirl.com, as I had mentioned, a hot little place to go and check out things that are happening in the world of live fire. Great recipes, great cocktails, always great gift ideas, no matter what the holiday season is or what time of year it is. always working on something new. That, of course, Robyn Lindars, her last appearance for the year, Steven's last appearance for the year. Then we will move to the second hour, and we have a couple great guests lined up in the second hour as well. The first guest, while the product and associated landscapes of this company have been one that has supported the show for a number of years on a sponsorship side, has also been a friend of this show ever since I found out about them initially. And over the course of that relationship, we visited each other when we're in respective cities. I've stayed over at their house to avoid high hotel charges while in Louisville, which I appreciate undyingly. And the guest tonight, while with the company since the beginning, will be her first time into the Barbecue Central show jungle. I am, of course, talking about the vice president of Pit Barrel Cooker, Amber Glanville, this time. Yep. Noah many times, Amber first time. So looking forward to chatting with Amber. We'll get to know a little bit about her background and how that relates to any type of a live fire kind of growing up. And then everybody knows the story of Pit Barrel, so we will talk to her about the business side of things for 2019, anything new that's going to transpire here in 2020. And they also have some partnerships and other business dealings going on, especially with National Barbecue Association coming up in the first weekend in April, I believe that is. So very excited to talk with Amber for the first time here on this show. Then we will close it out. I hate to give myself daps, props, congratulatories, or whatever you want to call it. But I did it this year. A number of years ago, I said I was going to do a barbecue documentary of sorts where I was going to follow 3 different barbecue teams. One doing it at a very high level, like multiple 30-plus competitions. One doing it at a medium, let's call it that 15 to 25 range. And then one doing 5 to 10 or 5 to 15. And I had the teams picked out. And I did a really good job at announcing the teams. I did a really good job at following up the first time. And then I blew it. Months. Turned into quarters. Turned into the end of the year. And then I had to make that terrible, embarrassing statement about how I sucked as a host. Because the concept was great. The execution was poor. Failure of a segment. And I said I would never let that I would never let that happen again. This year, in the beginning of 2019, you remember? We had a guy by the name of Dion Blumenrader who had gotten in touch with me and said, I'm bringing a sauce to market. I'm starting from the ground up right now. Wouldn't it be fun if we tracked progress? So I had a conversation with myself, and I said, will I be able to go ahead and make this verbal commitment, but more importantly, can I actually execute it? We agreed to once a quarter. We have done it. This will be the 4th one. I'm no mathematician, but once a quarter means 4 times during the year. We will get the 2019 roundup from one Dion Blumenrader of one sauce. We'll see how the first year went. The sauce is out. It is readily available for sale. We will talk to him about that, where sales are, where projections are meeting actual revenue numbers, all this good stuff. And is he starting to recoup the layout? Because it has all been expense at this point. And now he has product to sell, seeding it out there, and so forth. So Dion Blumenrader coming up to close the show. Looking forward to doing the final quarter of the Barbecue Central Show documentary. All right, there you go. Now, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Twitter and Instagram / BBQ Central Show on Facebook. I want to mention this. And I'm not going to get into any specifics, and I want to make sure that if anybody else decides that they think this is a good idea, I'm telling you it's a bad idea. Today, I come home to a manila envelope addressed to me, return address from a different location, not in Cleveland, Ohio, and in it contain a number of documents. It seemed like a Deep Throat-esque type of affair. And I'm here to tell you this. I have a pretty good idea of what the hope was for. That I would open this package, that I would rifle through the letters and documents and so forth, and that I would get on here on the show and start recklessly talking about whatever was contained in there. But guess what? This is not a reckless journalism show. I will have no party, and I will give no audience to what you sent me. To the point. If you're going to send me a huge packet of documents, do me a favor and do you a favor. Don't take the bag way out and not put your name on it and sign anonymous. Put your name on it, son. Put your name on it. If you want me to give it 1 second of credibility and thought, if I'm going to talk about it on this show, it is not going to be by you saying anonymous and not putting a name on it. In fact, I bet you're listening. Pick up the phone and call in and say your name and what you want to do. 216-220-0966. I will preempt all interviews. There is nothing more baggy than sending people documents that you think you know what they're going to do with, but I'm not going to do what you think I'm going to do with those, and you don't put your name on it. Biggest bag move ever. Biggest bag move ever. All right, Stephen Raichlen coming up out of the break. I will talk to you quickly about Big Papa Smokers, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. Their curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies will get you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. Everything at BigPapaSmokers.com has been Pitmaster approved by Sterling Big Papa Ball himself. From the award-winning rubs and sauces to the American-made grills and smokers, they got something for every kind of outdoor cook. 13 perfectly balanced flavors of seasonings and rubs, transforming ordinary meals into extraordinary. Simply marvelous. Also, the partnership with Big Papa. So you know they have, when you put them together, the West Coast offense. That's right. Winning and winning and winning over there. They also own Granny's barbecue sauce. So if you're tired of what's currently available on the market, you want to try something with a little different flavor profile that might trip the trigger, Granny's barbecue sauce is certainly luscious. You're going to want to check it out. Also, they got smokers. Did you know they got smokers? That's right. After you've got done looking at all of the other cookers, maybe you want to look at a Mac 2-star General pellet cooker. Big Papa Smokers, the exclusive Mac dealer, even offers special packages. Not a fan of pellet smokers? Take a look at the Old Hickory Ace BP, the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts to put on his competition trailer. If you're not sure of what kind of grill you need, call them, please. Ask questions. 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727. Or shop the website, BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA Smokers.com. BigPapaSmokers.com. We have the Hall of Famer, Stephen Raichlen, coming up out of the break. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher's Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, grilling oils. All of Butcher Barbecue products have been tested on the competition circuit as well as backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster of your neighborhood and visit butcherbbq.com to stock up now. Always trust your butcher. And as always, I believe episode number 4 is out for Dave right now, the Butcher Barbecue Podcast. Subscribe to that. I listen to it. You should too. Hey, it's the third Tuesday of the month, and 2019 is rapidly coming to a close, so we race to the hotline and waste little to no time to get to Barbecue Hall of Famer and Barbecue Show guest Hall of Famer Stephen Raichlen. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm absolutely fabulous, Stephen. Appreciate you making time, as always. And we are drawing near two of the biggest holidays of the year coming up here, and they will actually coincide this year as well, or kind of run over the top of each other. And, of course, New Year's is coming. Lots of great things happening. We can always figure out a way to take these kind of holidays and quickly mix food into them, because that's what we are on this show. We are obviously live fire lovers first, but we love food in general. We'll get to that here in a second, but I wanted to ask you, because I know it might have been a month or two ago, we had talked about Barbecue University and how you had quite a run over in Colorado, but you were picking up steaks and going somewhere else. Has there been a definitive location for what will be a 2020 Barbecue U?
Well, actually, we just announced it today.
Really?
We are moving to the Montage Palmetto Bluff in South Carolina, midway between Savannah and Hilton Head. Absolutely gorgeous property. You know, there are mountain people and there are ocean people. And I've always been an ocean person. It's funny that I've done 20 years in the mountains, but I am so happy to be back on the water. This is a gorgeous property right on the water. In fact, our first night, our welcome night, we're going to take people by boat to an oyster roast. Super excited about the new location.
Now, it's funny because I don't, of all of the Barbecue University revision. So originally it was like Greenbrier or White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. Then was it the Broadmoor after that?
The Broadmoor, yeah.
Okay, so now we're at a new location. So South Carolina is at least a state that rings of some type of barbecue relation to it, or a barbecue mix. So that's also got to be a positive.
Absolutely. And the new school is going to be in a complex that has a lodge. It has a barbecue restaurant, state-of-the-art kitchen, a big 20-foot fire pit out back, which I cannot wait to get my hands on.
All right, so from a curriculum standpoint, and I know there's a lot of people that attend the Barbecue University that have done it year after year. It's kind of their annual pilgrimage to maybe get away to a nice resort, but also get in some live fire cooking, see what's trending with you. This is going to be a similar style event and a resort and all this, similar amenities or what people have come to used to?
Yeah, absolutely. So smoke and fire in the day, incredible leisure activities in the afternoon, and at night you tuck into luxurious rooms with gorgeous bed linens. It's the only way I can get my wife to come to Barbecue University.
Oh.
In terms of the curriculum, I'm doing a lot I'm working on a new book on grilling green, so vegetable forward, not strictly vegetarian. We'll do that being in South Carolina. Obviously, we're going to do pulled pork. We'll do mustard sauces, a lot of great seafood where we'll be. So it's, the world around the world on a grill, as always.
All right. Stephen Raichlen joining us here on the show. Can people start signing up for that yet, or is that still to be determined?
Absolutely. You go to barbecuebible.com, click on Barbecue University up on the right-hand tab, up on the right-hand side, and it'll take you to the landing page. And today's the first day we're open for enrollments.
All right. So if you're interested in that, or I would imagine, Stephen, that might be a pretty good last-second gift idea for your barbecue lover, right?
You bet. That'd be pretty neat.
No doubt. All right, so let's talk about the impending holidays. They're going to be coming up. A lot of us are a week or so away from it. And while it sounds really great to talk about it now, a week removed, or, a week and change removed, and it's very motivating, and we have all these plans and ideas in our head. Once the time starts to draw a little bit closer, well, now the butthole starts to pucker a little bit, and we start to second guess. So let's talk about holiday tips and making sure that if we're the ones hosting, that we're not getting lost in our own party, and by the time everybody leaves, we're cursing ourselves, saying we'll never do that again.
Yeah, well, I've got 2 words for you, or 3 words: big hunk of meat.
Yeah.
Okay, that to me is the cornerstone. Either it's a home cured ham, if you, I guess you're kind of a little on the edge of that, whole beef tenderloin, a whole prime rib, something that you can cook fairly easily and that you can carve and share to a crowd. And then you fill in around that. That makes a wonderful holiday.
Are you a fan of, because I have many different thoughts and opinion makers here on the show. And some people say, okay, well, if I'm going to have a big hunk of meat, I'm going to charge all of my guests with the task of bringing a side dish, or Sal, you bring a brownie, and Stephen, you bring the mashed potatoes, and so forth. How do you go about all the other stuff that's going to be eaten as well?
Yeah, we're kind of do-it-yourselfers from start to finish at our house. But that's not to knock the other the other method. I think it's great. We just, I guess, when we do it, we like to go the whole way with it.
All right. So, are you a dual holiday celebrator? We have Hanukkah starting on the 22nd. Obviously, Christmas 24 and 25.
Definitely a Hanukkah celebrator, and this year, and I hope I get to it on my blog before Hanukkah arrives, but a couple of years ago, I was playing around with latkes, those potato pancakes we eat for Hanukkah, and I cooked them on a plancha on a charcoal grill, and I threw some wood chunks on the fire, and I wound up making smoked potato latkes, which were pretty amazing. So I know that'll be on the menu. My granddaughter has requested a brisket. Her mother is a vegetarian, so it's going to be a pretty challenging menu, but there will be brisket.
So are there? Well, let me ask you this. I'm not much of a religious studier per se, but there does seem to be a tie-in between the Jewish faith and brisket specifically. Is there a religious tie-in to that at all?
I think it's more traditional than religious. Brisket, it's a slow braised meat. Jews from Central Europe, at least, and I'm descended from Jews from Central Europe, we like that yin-yang of sweet and salty flavors. So brisket, actually, it's more at Rosh Hashanah, our New Year in the fall, but a braised brisket with prunes, with apricots, with dried fruits, with raisins. I mean, that's a very popular dish. This will be just straight barbecued brisket to go with those wonderful smoked latkes.
All right, and then are there any other things that the Raichlen household specifically will be enjoying this holiday season?
Let's see. It's traditional among Jewish people to go out for Chinese food on Christmas Day, so we will probably do that.
Really?
Yeah, because that's the only restaurant that's open, if you think about it, right?
Right.
We will do that. New Year's, I'm not sure what's on the docket for New Year's yet, but there definitely will be caviar, and I know you and I have spoken about caviar. Have you tried it yet?
So now you have schooled me on the ways of caviar. You told me, Greg, don't get lost in this whole sturgeon caviar thing with that's $758,000 an ounce or whatever it is. Go get the salmon. The salmon caviar, and way less of a price point. It's delicious and salty and all this stuff. I have not honestly gone and gotten some yet, but it's certainly on the agenda here sooner than later. But you also had mentioned that you need to drink vodka with it. Is that? I mean, do I have to? Because I'm kind of not drinking.
Okay. Well, here's what you do.
All right.
In Project Smoke, my book Project Smoke, and on the website. Make the smoked hard-boiled eggs, okay?
All right.
Smoked deviled eggs. And then buy a little jar of salmon caviar. Find it at Whole Foods. You can find it, certainly if there's Japanese grocery store, it's a lot less expensive. On those smoked deviled eggs, a big spoonful of the salmon caviar, maybe a little sour cream. I promise you will thank me, and you will make up for lost time.
All right. Well, then I will put that on the to-do menu. Stephen Raichlen joined me here on the show. BBQBible.com, by the way, if you want to check it out. So let's talk about last-second gift ideas. Again, a little over a week away or so from holiday. So are you recommending anything, or is there anything that you would say, hey, maybe we're too far away from some certain items that just aren't going to make it? We've missed cutoffs. Things that you could make at home that would be just as good as something bought on Amazon or at a brick-and-mortar store.
Well, absolutely. Well, I mean, first of all, with regards to Amazon, it's still not too late to buy things like my suede grill gloves. That's a really popular holiday item. Smoking pucks, that's a small item that you can fit in a stocking. But we are great believers and fans of homemade rubs. And if you don't have time to order my Project Smoke rubs or barbecue sauces, make a rub. Make a Dalmatian rub, make a coffee rub. They're all in my books, A Million Great Rubs, books like Sauces, Rubs, and Marinades, or any of my books, really. Put it in a nice mason jar, customize a label, wrap it in ribbon. A homemade gift, for me, homemade gifts are always the nicest.
The first rub that I ever made in my barbecue journey was, and if I'm not saying the name right, please correct me in front of everybody, is it the 4-4 rub?
Yeah, the 4-4 rub, or Reichlen's rub, equal parts salt, pepper, paprika, and brown sugar. Still one of my favorites.
Yeah, I did it on ribs and pork bone.
Be away for free. Why is anybody going to buy the books?
That's right. Look what we've done here. We're bad business people, Steve. If you want the recipe, go and buy the book. We're going to edit that out and post. No, don't worry about it. All right, so
gift to you all.
All right, so let's talk about things that we or you have predicted and or thought might trend up here in 2019. Let's go ahead and have a look back as we're a couple weeks away from 2020. I'm going to give you some of what you thought in the beginning of the year was going to be a trend, and then you tell me if it was a hit or a miss or whatever you think. First one on the list was brisket where you least expect it.
Absolutely, and perfect proof of that. I am down in Miami, which is a great town, but not a barbecue town at all. We just got, about 2 months ago, Hometown Barbecue direct from Red Hook, Brooklyn. Oh. Billy Durney is doing amazing brisket down here in Miami, so we have become a barbecue town. But not just here in the United States. As you know, I do a lot of work in Italy. I do a lot of work in Montreal. And in both of those places, you can get terrific American-style brisket. So, yeah, brisket all over Planet Barbecue.
All right, number 2 was grills go green.
Okay, well, grilling grows green, and that's a big trend that's continuing. And what I mean by that is a lot more grilled vegetables, meals where your meat might just be a condiment rather than the big hulking thing in the center of the plate. Vegan barbecue. In the past year, let's see, I have made a watermelon ham, which was pretty good. That's from a guy named Will Horowitz, a restaurateur and author in New York City. Mm-hmm. Discovered some great vegan restaurants. There's a fabulous vegan cheesesteak in Philadelphia. So I think that's a trend that's going to continue.
The third one was wood grilling comes home.
Absolutely. With the advent of high-end wood-burning grills like the Grillworks, and more recently a very affordable wood-burning grill called the Kudu. But, people always frame the great debate, gas versus charcoal. For me, it's all about wood. Wood grilling, maximum flavor.
All right, well, I don't want to jump into 2020, but I had a follow-up question. I'll leave it go. Number 4, new rubs from around Planet Barbecue. So we're not just talking about nationally.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you're seeing this. There's a preparation from Egypt, actually, called dukkha. And dukkha is basically a roasted seed and nut rub with cumin, salt, pepper. It's absolutely delicious on grilled lamb. It's delicious on grilled squash. Rubs from other places, Spanish pincho rub, which is paprika, cumin, salt, pepper, very related to Moroccan rub, which think about it. Spain was part of Morocco a few hundred years ago. So absolutely, I guess you could call it the globalization of American barbecue or the American diet.
The fifth one you had listed was brisket in a hurry.
This was a dish that really intrigued me. It's how Koreans prepare brisket. What they do is they freeze it, slice it paper thin on a meat slicer, and then direct grill it in a matter of minutes. And this was one that I think people enjoy in Korean restaurants, but that has not really made it home yet.
All right. What about Sriracha being the new ketchup?
Totally. Definitely.
Yeah?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I thought Sriracha was really big, and then everybody was saying it, and then of course there were the conversations of, are you saying it right? It's Sriracha, Sriracha, whatever. And I saw it quite a bit with especially the one with the rooster on the bottle. That must be a specific brand or something like that. And then it kind of hit an apex, and at least to me, it seemed to level off, and I thought it was going to take off even further. Did you think it was going to get hotter, or am I missing the boat here?
Well, I think what has happened is it got so hot that it's just seamlessly woven into the fabric of American food. And I don't think we think about it anymore, but, it's everywhere. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a trend that's borne out. Another interesting thing that happened is sort of new hot pepper. It used to be what heated up a rub or sauce was cayenne pepper. And then we went to like hot paprika and now Aleppo peppers, Urfa peppers. These are all hot peppers from the Middle and Near East. And they're interesting because they've got heat, but they also have a very deep, rich flavor.
There was another portion of the Sriracha take, which was gochujang being like a new chili sauce.
Yeah,
what do we think?
Gochujang is a Korean hot pepper paste made with garlic, fermented rice, very deep and rich in umami flavors. And I think, again, that has sort of just become part of the way we cook without calling a lot of attention to it. So,
does sambal fold into both of those as well?
Well, sambal is actually a cluster of relishes, some of which are hot, some very hot, some incendiary, and they're found throughout Southeast Asia, actually as far east as or far west as India. And the most common is sambal ulek, which is basically an Indonesian hot pepper sauce, Vietnamese. Funny, I was writing about that today, and I was evoking sambal, just as a great way to provide heat and flavor.
Let's talk about 2020. Do you have any one or two things that you think haven't really shown their face yet, but because you've been around the globe and planted barbecue, you think are going to explode onto the scene, whether it be first quarter or fourth quarter for that matter?
Well, in fact, I have my little list here, right here.
All right.
A few highlights from it. So one thing I think that new trend that's actually a very old trend, the most ancient, is what I call caveman everything. Now, people know my caveman T-bone. They know some of my ember roasted peppers. Well, I think you're going to see ember roasting of everything, a lot more ember roasting seafood, ember roasting vegetables, ember roasting fruits for dessert. Even you can even take bread dough and lay it on the embers.
Really?
And throw it on the. Yeah, well, you probably saw me do that on the Project Fire TV show last year.
Right.
So another trend I think is going to be very big is vegan charcuterie. That is vegetables that are cured and smoked the way you traditionally smoke meats. That's happening already.
Well, I'll tell you what, Stephen, I am nowhere near on the food spectrum as most people. However, I can probably say I'm one of the very few that have one of the most prolific vegetable charcuterie makers right here in Cleveland, Ohio at Larder DB, by the way. And Jeremy Umansky is a mad genius, and that guy's throwing koji on top of everything. I fear for my life half the time, thinking I'm going to get koji on me.
Yeah, no, he's brilliant, visionary. I think you're going to see a lot more of these. These guys like Will Horowitz and Jeremy, they are actually being courted by big food industry because, if you think about the Impossible Burger, Beyond Burger went public and quintupled in price. Its stock quintupled in one day. So I think you're going to find the major food industry cannot get enough plant-based charcuterie and grilled fare.
Yeah, Stephen Raichlen joining me here on the show as we are drawing to a close. So, Stephen, let me take this time and say we're drawing to the end of yet another year, and the fact that you remain to come on the show once a month for what is now years in a string. The level that you're at, and the fact that you give time to the show and have conversation with me once a month for these many years, it's been just an incredible joy for me. And I know I speak for the listeners when I say we appreciate your time and the fact that we get to know a little bit more about you, and we pull some curtains back when we're able to just have this two-way street of conversation. And I certainly appreciate that, and I want you to know that.
Well, thank you. You do a wonderful job too, and wishing you and everybody out there super happy holidays, and talk to you next year.
All right, there he is, Stephen Raichlen, right there, laying it down. Vegetable charcuterie. I bet you didn't think you would ever hear that. Vegetable charcuterie. Well, that's right. You're hearing about it right now. I mean, Cleveland isn't on the cutting edge of much, except a lot of losing, especially when it comes to pro sports. However, we are pretty good at vegetable charcuterie. And by the way, it's delicious. This guy at Larder can make a mushroom pastrami sandwich that will blow your mind. Hey, let me talk to you quickly about the Barbecue Guru, makers of automatic pit temperature control devices. Oh, cripes. All right, there we go. So, if you have a bullet-style smoker, or maybe you have a kettle-style cooker, maybe you have a offset pit, bullet, ceramic, you get one of these Barbecue Guru controllers. If you don't want to take the time to learn your cooker, and by the way, I highly suggest you take the time to get to know your cooker. But after that, after you've learned it, you get a Guru. Put on the bottom, that little the little micro fan, and you put a probe into the main cooking chamber, and then at the controller you set what temperature you want this whole rig to run at. So let's say 225, and then the the probe in the meat chamber will tell the micro fan to pulse. Make sure it keeps it at that temperature. You can adjust as you want. Whole bunch of different technology if you want it, depending on whatever your budget is. And they have that grill, the Monolith ceramic cooker that has a built-in power draft fan already in it. So, hey, if you have a Guru controller, if you're already a fan and you buy the Monolith, just hook the controller right up to the Monolith. You're off and running. It's great. You can get a new controller if you want. You don't have to. Any questions, you call them 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. Or you visit the website, bbqguru.com. Robyn Lindars from Grill Girl is standing by. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com. Your number one source for quality wood pellets for all of your pellet-driven cookers. You can shop their selection at cookinpellets.com, COOKIN, cookinpellets.com, or Amazon.com if you want. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can go to Amazon. Lots of great flavors. Chris Becker is the man. Also, they do have 100% hickory pellets and a few other ones as well. There was that whole big hubby-de-doo, wubba-doo about Traeger getting sued for oil soaking their wood pellets. So Chris Becker's 100% wood pellets are indeed 100% wood pellets. Just in case you were wondering. He's not getting sued by anybody or anything like that. No, we're not talking about that. Hey, it's the third Tuesday of the month. Still, even after we just got done bidding Stephen Raichlen, a fondue had a brain fart there. We race to the hotline and welcome back the other third Tuesday of the month regular guest, the creator of GrillGirl.com. It is Robyn Lindars. Hey, Robyn.
Hey, happy holidays.
Well, you have a great-looking necklace on you. You're all lit up. It's very nice.
I'm feeling festive.
Yeah, I feel like that all of a sudden might become a trend for some reason, but you never know. You're setting trends, of course.
Dollar store special. What can I say?
Is that like a battery-operated thing? You just push a button and wear like a necklace?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, all right. I think it's way better than that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer blinky nose.
I wouldn't wear a blinky nose to a
No.
party.
No
I mean,
way.
at least I wouldn't show up with one on. Now, maybe after a couple of drinks, I might put one on. You
That's
never
right.
know.
Never know. We'll see what happens. So we're talking with Robyn, and we are going to be talking some holiday entertaining. And, you're in not everybody's in the same type of crappy weather hole that I'm at here in Cleveland and, kind of the Midwest, and you get out west, and if you're in the mountains and elevation, you see some snow and crappy cold, blah, blah, blah. You're in a little bit nicer area, so you have a little bit more landscape to take advantage of during this time of year. You're not just relegated to the house. So to me, that screams of things like campfires and all this stuff. Is that what you're into?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I've actually been cooking on my fire pit lately. And so I think when you live in some places in the US, like Florida, Christmas time for us is like our nice time of year, and our sticky weather is in the summer when you guys have your nicer weather.
Yeah.
So, so I've just been all about getting back to basics lately, and I've gotten two entertaining occasions under my belt in the new house. And Thanksgiving, and now I just did a little Christmas party, and I'm all about the interactive happy hour, where you put out you can also, if you don't have a fire pit, like I have an old Weber fire pit from like 7 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I don't think they can make them anymore.
No.
Yeah. And it's just so fun. Right. So, or, if you have like just a charcoal grill, you can turn that into a fire pit, as far as like cooking, just take the grates off and put everything on a stick, and there you go, So for kids, think about, or something that's kid friendly, think about like, you can roast hot dogs, and then for the adults, you buy some really nice sausages, and it's just very easy. And then you have a s'mores set up for dessert, and then you have heavy appetizers in the background for people who don't feel like roasting hot dogs, as there are some people that don't want to do the work.
That's so hard to do, right? Put a stick over a flame.
You would believe that, some people are like, I don't want to roast a sausage, or whatever. So then you have heavy out like a charcuterie platter in the background for those type people. And, and then it just makes it kind of fun and interactive, for being outdoors, when the weather's nice, of course.
Let me talk to you about charcuterie platters here, because we were just at a graduation at one of the satellite branches for Kent State University. My wife's an instructor for the physical therapy assistance program. I did a bunch of pork butts for the kids there, but one of the other instructors did this huge, elaborate charcuterie board setup, and it was delicious. But I'm looking at it from a different eye. I'm like, holy crap, this appears to be an incredible amount of work. Does it look worse than it is? And then are you making your own charcuterie at the same time, or is that something that you buy?
I don't think that most people make their own charcuterie. I think a lot of people, if you're going to do it on a budget, which most people will, you'll go to Trader Joe's and stock up on stuff, and you can get the job done pretty well just with a pretty good haul from Trader Joe's, and maybe supplement it with a few nicer ones. But no, I think a good charcuterie platter is like, it's so fun to arrange the different meats with the different cheeses, and you put some jams out and some, pickled vegetables. I get super excited about a good charcuterie platter.
Now, from a campfire standpoint, I mean, do you find that a lot of people just don't want to get around it because they don't want to stink, or they don't want to attempt to cook anything? Or is it pretty easy to get people to gather around it and take a stab?
No, it's easy because people want to be around a campfire. It just draws people in, It's just, there's something just really nice about sitting around a campfire. It's just something, it almost feels like nostalgic of just, it's very relaxing and fun.
Fire's important. I think fire just draws people around. If you go into my upstairs when it's cold out, we turn the fire on because we don't have a wood burning fireplace, so it's a gas. That thing puts out a lot of heat. And 10 minutes after that thing is up and running and the heat is really pumping out, all my girls are like right up to the front of that thing. And it's like flies to a light.
Yeah, it's just so warming and just cozy. And Oh, and that party, I also set up a cookie decorating station, and I had it all done at the bakery at my grocery store. And I just said, give me some sugar cookies and give me the piping bags, because they already have all that stuff. And they sold it to me. So then all the kids could also decorate Christmas cookies, make s'mores. It's like, very kid-friendly, interactive party.
Now, I don't know what temperature it hits for you to not want hot chocolate, but I'm just going to throw out a suggestion. Hot chocolate bar. So you have a big crock pot full of already made hot chocolate, and then off to the side, you have your whipped cream, you have some little mini stroopwafels or some chocolate chips. I mean, you just go crazy with it. So you put the cocoa in and all. I mean, kid friendly, right?
Yeah, and then the adults can put in like Rumplemints or schnapps.
Rumplemints? Did we just drop right back to 1992? Oh my God, do they make Rumplemints still?
I don't know. That's like what came to mind.
Holy moly!
Like a peppermint something.
Yes, peppermint schnapps or Rumplemints. That was a huge.
I don't know. That was like, you guys, that just came from like the recesses, like back part of my brain.
Oh, trust me, I know exactly where that came from. It was a dark, dank bar. It was probably really close to 2 a.m. And you're like, I got to get that last shot at bartender Rumplemints to go. Boom, boom. And there you go. Trust me, I've been there. I get it. Now, here we go. We're tired. We're tired of turkey, right? We had a lot of turkey for Thanksgiving. I do think a lot of people actually double up with Thanksgiving turkey and Christmas holiday turkey as well. We used to do that quite a bit. But if you don't want to do it, and I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to be doing prime rib. I talked to Meathead about prime rib and Jess Pryles about prime rib last week. Let's talk about something completely different. And because you probably have them laying dead in your refrigerator right now or at any given moment, let's specifically talk about goose or geese and quail. I've had neither. I've almost seen a goose like in a butcher case, but they had just sold it before I got to see it. But I've heard it's got a weird taste. So let's talk about goose first and prep and flavor profiles to make sure we're doing it right.
Yeah. And I don't think we could. I've never seen goose, thank God, in my refrigerator, because it would take up like
you're right.
Amount. And I do have to say, the height of hunting season, and it's like
it's the Kaufman, the Kaufman's brother mortuary in the kitchen, right?
It's so much, like all of it, but God bless my husband. He gets really like 150% into stuff. So, so goose is actually delicious. And I just bought mine at the butcher, but my old place, I had a really good butcher. But if you want to try something different and also something that cooks relatively quickly and is actually delicious, goose is a good option. And if you can find one in your butcher, I recommend giving it a go. I mean, you can cook, I think it was like I'm trying to remember the weight of the one I did. I think it was like maybe 15, no, maybe less than that. It's like it's bigger than a chicken. It's smaller than a turkey.
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of like duck, like you have a lot of fat that renders, and this especially, you have to be super conscious of the fat rendering.
Yep.
Yeah, it's weird because when we did it, when the fat, usually fat on coals makes for deliciousness, but goose fat on coals makes a really weird kind of aftertaste. So you want to make sure to catch all the fat. But that's how you get the crispy skin. But it's very rich. It's like it's a very rich poultry, but it's tasty. So if you're looking to do something different, goose is a good thing. And quail is actually pretty easy to find. And I had gotten exposed to quail because I did some recipe development for Manchester quail a couple years ago. And quail is like little delicious chickens. Like, it is way better than chicken. It's delicious. You can have like one quail per person, spatchcock it, and it goes well with a rosemary lemon or like a rosemary citrus flavor profile, and you grill it and it's the bomb. So if you wanted something different, those are two good options. One year we did a tasting course. I think it was either for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and that a wine pairing dinner with 7 courses, which means we ate really well and we were shit-faced by the end. And quail was one of the courses, and it was everyone that was loving it, and such a great deviation from turkey or ham, just your standards.
And this is something that's readily available pretty much anywhere? quail, or I mean, it's a little specialty kind of a thing?
I think you can find it in most frozen sections. Like fresh, I think would be hard to find unless you know people that do that stuff. But yeah, I think you could find it regardless, and it's just something different to try. It's always good to just branch out. I'm as you guys know, a big believer in trying new things.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Robyn Lindars joining us here on the show. Recipes and other fun stuff, grillgirl.com. Let's talk about last-minute gift ideas. We're a week or so away from Christmas. I was talking to Stephen Raichlen about some homemade stuff, but do you have any last-minute for the procrastinators among us?
You can always get creative and do like a barbecue gift basket. And most things that you can buy, you can do a mixture of things that you find on like Amazon. You can still you can still get things like tongs or, some of your favorite supplies. And then you can pair that with like barbecue rub and some other kind of specialty things that you can get local and do things like, a gift basket or something that does show that you put some thought into it. I like doing homemade gifts like DIY s'mores, where you put the canisters with all the stuff in it, or make your own rubs, or finishing salts. You can dehydrate some lemon peels and pair that with some rosemary and make like a rosemary lemon finishing salt and put it in a cute tin, and you can or smoke some nuts. Like things like that. Very easy to make some homemade gifts that show that you actually gave from your heart and didn't just buy something.
Right.
So
I get it. Robyn Lindars joining us. So let's talk about a couple of 2019 food trends or, flash things that happened over the course of the year that really kind of stuck in your brain as things that you think you'll remember here for the next couple of years. What are some of the big things of 2019 that you'll remember?
Well, I did just see the smoke fire release, and that's definitely been left an impression on my brain about the future of pellet smoking. I think that will continue to grow. I think all this plant-based stuff is weird, like these fake burgers and everything. I hope that's a trend that just goes away.
That's not going away. It's growing. It's growing. The companies are getting more and more, I don't know if they're getting profitable, but the revenues are continuing to drive up. Impossible Burger or Beyond Burger quintupled in one day as far as, their value. So I think what you're going to see is probably less of the burger stuff, and you're going to see more of this plant-based protein in a ground beef type form. And I think you will see it be a little bit more palatable or a little bit more accepted by the general meat-eating audience, because it's not being, I think where the burger falls short is, and this is why I think you probably have a feather in your craw on it, is it's like you're being tricked. They're marketing it as this is a burger, except it's not a burger. So now you're having a conversation with yourself about, well, it tastes like a burger. It looks like it's not no damn burger. And I feel like I'm being tricked. I hate these people. I love these people. I hate these people. But with the ground meat, the ground whatever version of this, it's taco meat. It's something you're putting in a casserole, and it has the same kind of mouthfeel, but it's not meat. And remember, what's the one thing to remember about all of this plant-based protein stuff? Don't be fooled. If you're looking for a healthier alternative and you think this is it, you are wrong, my friends. It's super processed. It's super calorie, all that crap. So
it's gross. I'd rather eat a cow and at least know that it's a cow and it have like 3 ingredients in it at worst than a burger, a plant-based burger with like 50 ingredients. A lot of them that sound like they came straight from like someone's laboratory.
Right. It's like a science thing. Now, it's definitely not meat. So if that's what you're trying to do, fine. But never be under the impression that you are making a healthier alternative. What other 2019 things? Anything?
I think we're going to continue to explore more like Asian profiles. I think I'm starting to see a lot of people really getting into stuff that used to be a lot more exotic. You'll see people like, oh, I made these Mongolian beef ribs, or, like bulgogi and stuff that used to be more Korean style barbecue, making it more mainstream. And I just think everyone will continue to kind of explore like global flavors. You know, I hope to see less traditional barbecue in my feed and more like out of the box stuff. You know, like let's branch out. I want to see, you know, not just ribs, but just different types of meat, different ways of cooking it. Just, I'm hoping, I guess this is all aspirationally hoping where I feel like people will be going.
Do you have one 2020 prediction that you think is going to take the world by storm next year?
I think that, you know, I am not predicting like exactly what will happen. I know that I feel like next year will be a major game changer for me. I think the industry is just going to do a lot of different new things. I think they're really going to embrace more women cooking, maybe younger people cooking. You know, obviously more millennials are getting into the game. So I think we'll just start to see hopefully a little, and not that there's anything wrong with this, but less of the good old boys club, but more just everyone embracing cooking over fire, with less of the over fire stereotypes that go with it.
All right. You can catch up with Robyn at grillgirl.com. She's got 18,500 followers as of yesterday on Instagram. That's at grillgirlrobyn. And all the other haunts on social media. You can follow her as well. You see her once a month right here on this show. Robyn, appreciate all the time this year, and I'm looking forward to picking back up in January in 2020.
Me too. I love all you guys. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Merry Chanukah, all of that good stuff, you guys. I hope it was a great year, and 2020 will be an equally more it will be a kick-ass year next year, you guys. We're going to have a great year.
All right, Robyn, thank you so much. There she is, Robyn Lindars, right there. Did she say Chanukah? I thought that was only relegated to, what the hell's her name? Who's the cooking lady that went to jail that hangs out with Snoop Dogg? Why can't I remember her name? She's kind of stiff. Somebody tell me her name in the instant chat. What am I saying? Damn it. Oh, blonde hair, no personality, really rich. Martha Stewart, yes. Paula Deen? Come on, real Joey B. Paula Deen's got personality. I'd never forget Paula Deen. Who could forget her? I mean, she's no Ina Garten, but who is? Martha Stewart is the name I was thinking of. Chanukah. That reminds me of the Saturday Night Live. Chanukah. All right, we are getting ready to wrap up here. Go to the second hour. You were just listening to Robyn Lindars. Once again, her website is grillgirl.com. She's got a bunch of recipes. She also has some product reviews, gift ideas. The gift guide is out. We're still a little over a week or so I think we're still good on a lot of the shipping stuff. A lot of cutoffs that I was seeing for some of the food was the 18th. So head on over to grillgirl.com, check out that list, see what she's got. Maybe that'll jog your memory. Maybe you've got gift buyer's block. I have to go to Things Remembered and get my ornaments for the daughters that I buy every year. Other than that, I let my wife do all the shopping. All right, let's quickly break, and we'll be back to wrap up. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
By the way, Stover, I'm not saying that Paula or that Martha Stewart doesn't have personality, but she does not.
Andrew, you are not.
She does not have the personality that I find intriguing. It's a little dry. Thanks again to Stephen Raichlen for joining me in the first interview segment. BarbecueBible.com. Also, thanks to Robyn Lindars for talking to me this past segment about campfire eats, goose and quail, last-minute gift ideas, some of the big 2019 trends, and the 2020 prediction. We're pointing to the second hour. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This is Dion Blumenrader with Big Hoss One Sauce, and you're listening to the best show on all things barbecue with my man, Greg Rempe.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet or wieners. Oh, listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. It's the Barbecue Central Show. We do things right here that talk about barbecue and grilling. If you missed the first hour, never fear. It's being recorded. You'll get it in podcast starting tomorrow. Thursday, you'll get the second hour on podcast. And we'll talk about Friday here in just a second. This portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously, connecting to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or via the Bluetooths. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant, you're in luck because it's fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. Now, I did want to mention this because I think I have accidentally closed my original opens document. There is a piece of technology that I want to hip you to, and I need to go to the setup and go to the take. If you have an Alexa, and I would assume that this would also be good for the Dot, but I don't know that. But you would say Alexa with the Dot. So if you have the Echo Dot or the big cylindrical Echo or Alexa, whatever the hell it is, I have one in my kitchen area. It's a great room, whatever. It means everything's so goddamn loud when you're doing the dishes. You got to pause the television. You can't hear anything. But it's such a great idea when you're building the house, but you don't realize how loud it's going to be. Anyway, if you have one of these, you can do this. Quickly, do it right now. Go over to your Alexa and say, Alexa, play the Barbecue Central Show on Apple Podcasts. Do you see what I'm saying? Alexa, play the Barbecue Central Show on Apple Podcasts. Then, somehow, through the magic of the World Wide Webs, Alexa and Apple Podcasts will connect wires from an internet sense. And the most recent episode, which is the Best Moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less, which was posted this past Friday, episode 102, I believe, will start playing just like that. You don't have to, subscribe to anything or nothing like that. I want you to subscribe to the podcast, number one, first and foremost. However, if you have an Alexa and you're just around and you want to play the most recent one, all you have to do is say, Alexa, play the Barbecue Central Show on Apple Podcasts. That's what you have to say. Now, you can also say, Alexa, play the Barbecue Central Show from yesterday on Apple Podcasts. Then when it's playing, if you're like at minute 10 and I'm in the middle of a hype-ass rant and you're sick of it, all you have to say is, Alexa, skip ahead 30 seconds, and it will bump 30 seconds. You can also say, Alexa, play the previous episode. So if you go to it will play the most recent one. You can systematically work backwards. If you're like, oh, I remember this show. This one really sucked. I want the previous one. Alexa, play the previous episode. But you have to be playing one in order to go to the previous. Do you see what I'm saying? This is great technology. I am glad to have brought this service to you. I talked with whoever makes Alexa, and I said I would really appreciate it if you guys could hook me up with some technology that allowed Alexa and this Apple Podcast, because I talked to the folks over there. They said it's cool if you mesh it together, and there you go. And he said, no problem. They said, no problem. So if you don't think I'm being 100% forthright, just go to whatever Alexa unit you have, make sure it's hooked up to the internet, and say, Alexa, play the Barbecue Central Show podcast, or play the Alexa, play the Barbecue Central Show on Apple Podcasts. It'll work. So neat. Don't forget, on top of all of that, you can still follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, /BBQ Central Show on Facebook. Coming up this Friday on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less, episode 103. Holy cripes. Back in January of 2014, the guy that stopped by the first hour of this show, Stephen Raichlen, was in, and we did a whole segment on what I termed weird meat. Hopefully I'm teasing you enough to where you're not hoping I give you more information than that, because I'm not. But we talked about some weird meat. And then, because it's a John Solberg patented doubleheader, we spent the other portion of the show talking about winter grilling tips. I was still in my comeuppance stage of the show at that point. And while I still think it's probably wise to talk about winter grilling tips every year because we're continually gaining new listeners, and some of my most savvy vets fall out and some of the rubes come on, and they need to be in the know about fuel consumption and why charcoal is going to get eaten quicker in a cold weather environment than a warm weather environment, how the top of the grill is still freaking hot when you have the grill on, so don't grab it with your bare hands because it's cold out, how you can take advantage of snowbanks at your sides by jamming beer or pop or ginger beer bottles down into the snowbanks as refrigerators. You keep your meat at safe temperatures out there. All the great stuff. Come on. Got to look at that. So we did winter grilling tips. That will be in the feed on Friday morning for your listening pleasure. Here's an email, because I don't know if you've understood anything about the show over your fandom, but I love to beat a dead horse. Love it. If I see a dead horse, and I'm not talking about horse meat 2019, soon to be 2020, and shirts will be made, and I will get them on Amazon for sale. So if you want to have the most recent year of let's get this horse meat thing going, for crying out loud, then be on the lookout for that. But this is not a horse meat 2020 take. By the way, Diane Mee is very sad that she will have to instate another personal ban for the third year in a row on horse meat. Here's an email. Hey, Greg. First of all, Merry Christmas to you and your family. As for the Popeyes chicken sando, in short, whole lot of hype, not really that good.
Andrew, you are not the
Not really that good. I'm picky, but honest in my reviews of food. I had the regular and spicy. The bread to meat ratio was high to the bread side. The bun was soggy, which I attribute to sitting in the sandwich bag too long. The seasoning was lacking. While the attempt at a crunchy crust was admirable, it was a bit of a dud. Or, as Baba Booey would say, it's a bit of a stumble. The mayo had melted into this oily liquid, which further compromised the bun's integrity. Overall, I'd put it at a 3 on a 1 to 10 scale. 3. I won't go out of my way for another. However, if someone brought it to me, I'd eat it. Chick-fil-A wins this round to me. Take care and keep doing what you do, Jeff Stone. Thank you, Jeff, for writing it. Appreciate that. Now I'm completely thrown off my game. I thought in between last week and this week, I would have succumbed to the peer pressure of Popeye's Chicken Eatery. And then I got that review from Jeff Stone, who I respect and trust. And I said, now, here's a guy that knows what he's talking about. You got these kooks running around like Jess Pryles, Daniel Vaughn, giving a Popeye's chicken sandwich, a fast food chicken sandwich, ratings of 7 or better. And then you finally have somebody coming in and a reputable standard of Jeffrey Stone saying, this is 3 out of 10. Well, my mind is all over the place now. I don't even know what to do. I feel somewhat vindicated and or justified in the fact that I have flatly refused to put chicken from Popeyes in my mouth and feel like if I say it's 3 or 4, that there's going to be a wide percentage of you saying, well, even if it was good, you've positioned yourself at this point to not be able to rate it fairly. Or heaven forbid, I eat it and it does go into that 7 or above of the best things I've ever eaten. I could possibly never live with myself if that were the case. It appears I will not be eating Popeye's chicken sandwiches anytime soon. That's probably a good embedded correspondent question for next week. What do we think about the Popeye's chicken sandwich? Will it be around in 2020? Good night. How could one man think like this? It was a barf. Amber Glanville coming up out of the break. I will talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills, some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. A couple different sizes for you to choose from if you want to put them on your deck or your patio. You have a Jimboui, which is the biggest one. You also have the... Is this right? Yep. You also have the Daniel Boone, which is medium size. You have the classic line, or the choice line is what it's called, which is what I have. You also have a prime line, a little bit bigger, more robust build, peak-in windows on the main cooking chamber, pellet hopper, 2 internal meat probes, all that stuff. I believe yesterday ended the sale that they were running. It was a huge sale, by the way, so if you missed out on that, too bad for you. Now, if you want something a little bit more portable, Davy Crockett is more up your alley. It's got 12-volt technology, so if you don't have access to a traditional power outlet, you can use a 12-volt outlet in your car or adapter in your car. Power it up. You can take wood pellet-fired goodness with you. Fits in the back of trucks, vans, and SUVs. Totally portable. It's great. You'll love it. And you're not sacrificing a huge amount of capacity due to its portability. I mean, it's not as big as the Jimboui or the Daniel Boone, okay? But it's good to take, and it cooks a decent amount of food. You could probably get away with it in your Muni lots, at your tailgates. GreenMountainGrills.com, that's the website. Pellets also, rubs also, accessories also. Great stuff. Jason Baker of the game, Jason Baker and the gang continuing to kill it across the country and globe with Green Mountain Grills. Amber Glanville of Pit Barrel Cooker coming up next. Stick around, we'll be right back.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named Meathead. The author of a barbecue Bible. Bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, this portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield. If you're ready to commit to the Committed Cooks program, easy to do. Go on to smokingwithsmithfield.com, and you can go ahead and get locked up. Some great swag, a little bit of a fee you got to pay there, but they will send you your box of goodies. Smokingwithsmithfield.com. That's SMOKIN, smokingwithsmithfield.com. That was rightly bizarre, I believe is what they say. Try that again. Hey, my first guest in the second hour is making her first appearance as a guest on this show. Although we've had many conversations outside this landscape that may or may not have anything to do with Live Fire. I'm a big fan of their cookers, products, and tonight we catch up on business of 2019 and also look ahead to what might be cool in 2020. So let's go ahead and race to the hotline and welcome first-timer to the show, the Vice President of Pit Barrel Cooker, Amber Glanville, joining me. Hey, Amber.
Hey, Greg. How's it going?
What's up, girl? Ooh, ooh. Is that what people do, right? That's what the kids do.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, the kids do that.
Yeah. Hey, thank you. Thank you for coming on tonight. I know it's kind of last minute that I dropped on you, so appreciate you making the time. And while we have had many conversations amongst each other, you haven't been on this show before, so I don't want to just blow over the bit of background that we can get on you. Did you have any type of like growing upness? That's not a word. That had any type of center around Live Fire, like your dad do any of that kind of stuff, or what was it like for you coming up, and where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I grew up in California. Both Noah and I did. We both grew up in small mountain towns, not really near each other, but very similar backgrounds. My dad would grill pretty much every night. In California, we would cook tri-tip, but he would burn it, and it was overdone. So I grew up eating overdone steak, overcooked everything. So when I met Noah, I learned to enjoy, medium rare meat, which is funny because I remember we went out to this really nice restaurant. I think it was in Monterey, it was like the Sardine Factory or something, and they came to the table and they're like, "How would you like your steak, ma'am?" And I'm like, "I'll take it, well done." And Noah's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "What do you mean? That's the way I eat my meat." I know. So that's kind of the way I was raised, and now I've evolved as I've grown up.
Was that a quick thing for you? Because I was in a situation when I met my wife that I love my in-laws. I also take every opportunity to make fun of how their cooking processes were. They did something called something called the triple cook method. So, for instance, if we were going to be doing chicken over there, they parboil the chicken. And by parboil, I mean it's fully cooked in the boiling water. Then it hits the grill for a little bit of grill flavor, and that's where also the Casey Masterpiece barbecue sauce is applied. And then it gets put on a platter, and then it's run through the microwave just to make sure that everything's cooked. So getting her down, off of a well-done steak has taken literally 15 years to where at least if she sees pink, she doesn't start to go in a dead sweat panic. Was it a gradual turn for you, or were you pretty accepting?
No, I mean, I would say it was probably gradual. I probably went from like well done to medium well, and made my way down. But it's funny, like our boys will go to, steakhouses and they'll ask the boys what they'd like. And of course the boys order steak and then, they're like, medium rare, and they're like, "Whoa, your kids know how they like their meat cooked. Most kids want, well done." And I'm like, "I know." And you've had dinner with us plenty of times.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they come up right. I'm surprised they're not asking for lamb instead of steak. I mean, if it wasn't for your boys, I never would have enjoyed what is now my favorite cut, which is a rack of lamb this past March. It was like life-changing for me.
You want to know a funny story about the lamb? So last night we did lamb, and we did 3 racks, and we had a friend in town, and Noah got home, and he said, "How many racks do we have?" I said, "We have 3 racks." And he's like, "For all of us?" And I'm like, "I know." And he goes, "Well, don't we have any bread or anything that we can stuff the boys with right now?" So he goes, "Max and Easton are each going to have a rack by themselves."
No doubt. I mean, they are lovers of lamb, and they converted me instantly. And I think when you have a pit barrel as well, I remember Jess Pryles, when I told her I had lamb the first time and it was cooked on the pit barrel, she's like, "Oh, well, you had the perfect storm. You had, good lamb, but it was also cooked on the pit barrel, which happens to be like one of the best ways that you can have lamb." So it seems I was a winner on both sides.
Yes, you definitely were.
All right, so let's talk about pit barrel cooker. I mean, we all know the story of whence it came and the success that you guys have seen, and it hasn't. I mean, it seems with any type of success that people are quickly and easily able to discount it as, oh, well, they're just lucky, or you just kind of see it and you don't realize the work that has been going on in the background for years and years, where nobody knew anything about it, and then all of a sudden here it's like one of the it's almost maybe the Kleenex of the barrel style cookers. You think of a barrel, you think of pit barrel cooker specifically. So did you think in 2019, when you and Noah had started this company together, that you fast forward to where we are today and you would see such an acceptance of a barrel style cooker, and specifically the pit barrel?
You know, I really didn't. I mean, in all honesty, when we started the company, I looked at him like he was crazy, and he is. I mean, anybody that knows him, crazy in a good way. I mean, he's you know, so hardworking and persistent, and he makes things happen, and that's why, you know, I mean, obviously we have a great team here in Louisville, but there's a reason why the company has grown like it has. It's a phenomenal product. We have, you know, amazing customers who have, you know, and retailers that have been with us from day one. And I remember making those phone calls when we started, and it's so funny. I literally remember certain phone calls when I'm sitting in this, you know, bedroom that was an office, and, you know, Easton was in a jumpy thing in the corner, and I'm trying to get him to be quiet because I'm trying to sell this product. And, you know, and it's funny because I remember calling people and they'd be like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, it's the pit barrel cooker. It's, you know, you hang all your meat in it. And I'm trying to explain it. And they're like, they, you know, but there were certain ones that said, you know, we want to try it. And they've been retailers of ours since day one. And it is funny because as we grow and we have sales staff, and, you know, I train them and talk with them, I share with them all of my stories from, you know, back in the day. And, there's a lot of funny ones, believe me.
So you had mentioned that you are now headquartered out of Louisville, and, you know, there was a little bit of a progression where, you know, maybe there was warehousing or shipping done outside of the state, but, you know, over the course of, has it been like 16 months or 24 months or so, you've kind of brought everything into the home base of Louisville, Kentucky at this point. What kind of a process has that been like? And are you now, because you're all centered in one area, is it something where you're constantly hiring people now, and it's like a great change, but also a whole bunch of new hurdles that you were now having to overcome?
It is. I mean, it's both. It's been great. You know, unfortunately, you know, there were some circumstances out of our control dealing with third-party logistics, and we couldn't allow that to happen anymore. And Noah and I knew that we needed to, at that point, bring it back in-house. And so we purchased a warehouse, and, you know, we have large office space, large warehouse. You know, we hired quite a few people in the last year. I mean, we purchased the warehouse in January, started shipping out of there, and I think it was May. And it's been awesome. It's been great. And I'll be honest, I was a little leery at first to kind of do that again. And, but it has been great. And we've come a long way just in the last year, I'd say.
One of the things that we saw happen this year was the Pit Barrel Junior coming back. So correct me where my time frames are falling off or are inaccurate. Pit Barrel comes out, then the smaller Pit Barrel, was that released for like a short period of time, then it was pulled back, or was it talked about and never really retailed, and now it's back out again? How does that whole genesis operate?
It was launched, and then we sold out of it, and this was a couple of years ago. And then we relaunched it, and that was just a few months ago. Mm-hmm. So, and that, I mean, it's such a phenomenal, you know, smaller version, tailgater version. That was the intention for that product. It's also great for, you know, couples and people that, you know, have small families and small spaces. So it's going really well.
There is an associated contest that I had also made a earlier post on my Instagram account that was, I think, initially associated with Pit Barrel Junior, but we didn't want to leave the Pit Barrel Cooker original guys and gals off too. So talk to me a little bit about why the competition is being extended and what people need to do in order to take part. Because we're talking, you know, about real live cash here to win. And last time I checked, everybody loves cash, everybody.
Everybody
cash.
loves cash.
Love cash.
And it's the holidays. They love cash for the holidays. So,
Right.
so we're doing a photo contest. And originally it was, take a picture of your Pit Barrel Junior in an awesome place. You know, it was called the PBJ No Boundaries Contest. And we wanted you to take the Pit Barrel to the beach or the lake or wherever you may take it and shoot a quick photo of it and, hashtag PBJ No Boundaries. And then also join the Barrelution and just tag the company on whatever social feed. So we had that going, and then we just decided to extend it until next Monday. So it'll end on 12/23. And originally we were just going to do Pit Barrel Junior customers or Pit Barrel Junior fans and owners. And we have opened it up to Pit Barrel Cooker owners as well. We didn't want to exclude anybody. There's a lot of people that have the Pit Barrel Cooker and may not have the Junior yet. So it's a really awesome contest. Like you said, we're giving out $1,000 for first place, $500 for second, and $250 for third.
I'm not asking you to tell people how to win, but are there things that you guys are looking for? I mean, is there composition that needs to be taken into account and lighting? I mean, we don't want crappy pictures, right?
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
No. Well, we want just good photos. I mean, it's amazing, these photos that you're seeing. I mean, on social media these days.
Oh, yeah.
iPhones. I mean, all these phones take phenomenal photos. You don't have to be a photographer. I mean, there's amazing stuff that comes out. So really it's not a food photo, not food hanging in the Pit Barrel, but we want like the Pit Barrel or the Pit Barrel Junior with a phenomenal like scenery where you're just looking at it and you're like in awe.
I like it. Maybe I'm going to get into this. I might take my Pit Barrel Cooker up to the top of Terminal Tower and snap some pictures of the backdrop.
That's exactly what I'm asking for. That's what we want to see, Greg.
All right. Or run it down to the 50-yard line in the Factory of Sadness, better known as Cleveland Brown Stadium, and get a picture of the only winning thing that happens to be going on in Cleveland Stadium is my Pit Barrel at the 50-yard.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
Yes.
All right. So that's going until next Monday. So if you have a Pit Barrel Junior or a Pit Barrel Cooker, go ahead and get on that. You have until next Monday. $1,000 for first place. I mean, come on, who doesn't need that money?
Yep.
Now, the other thing...
We'll send it to you. Yeah, we'll send it to you fast. You'll have it for the holidays. So.
All right, perfect. Now, the other thing that I like about the Pit Barrel Cooker and the Junior is the fact that you have a lot of great and relevant accessories. I think some companies can kind of get bogged down with the fact that, okay, we have some cookers here, but now we're just going to go crazy on the accessories, and they become a little tchotchke-ish, or they're not really that useful, or perhaps they're poor quality. And you guys have seemed to really carve a niche, not only with the cookers, but you're not offering an abundance of accessories, but the ones that you're offering are quality, and they help with efficiency and cooking, and they're just really good stuff, and they add value to the cooker that, oh, by the way, happens to be a really great value, too.
Yeah, thanks for that. But it's true. It's like the turkey hanger. That is awesome for Thanksgiving. You can also use it for chicken. Ash pan's awesome for cleanup. When customers ask, what accessories do I need to get? I'm like, you need every single one.
Right.
You have to get them all. I mean, so.
I like specifically the knives. When I'm talking to people, or when people are consulting me, I got to get my husband or my wife, maybe the wife is the live fire cook in the family, what should I be getting? I always say, well, you got to get a thermometer, and then we start talking about cookers, and then we start talking about knives. You got to have a really great knife. And you guys launched this knife. There was a carving set that had the fork and the knife, and then you had separated out just the carving knife itself. And this thing can cut your finger off easily because it's that sharp, but it is super nice. The quality is great. It's got a nice heft to it. How are these things selling? Because it's probably my favorite accessory that you guys are selling.
Yeah, excuse me. The knives are doing really well, especially during the holidays. It's a great gift. They've done really well, and we always have new accessories and different things on the horizon. I have a lot of things in my head that you just get so busy with everyday business, But another thing that we are going to be coming out with soon, I will say, is a larger model similar to a 55-gallon. That's something that we've been talking about, and that is something that is in the works.
Is that an exclusive?
It was.
Wow-wee! Thank you.
know.
Holy moly. Yeah, 50.
You're welcome.
So is it going to be, is it 50 or 55 or somewhere in between?
You know,
Yet to be
is
determined?
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, that we're working on. Price is one of them. We haven't established a price yet. But that is something that we are coming out with.
So is it just feedback from the customers over and over again saying, hey, we want a bigger model, we want a bit, or we love the original, but we want something even bigger? How does that determination come? Or is it just market research from what you see existing out there and saying, hey, we can do that, but maybe do it better?
I think all of the above. Most of our customers are the everyday backyard, guy or gal. And there's a lot of people in competition that are starting to use, drum cookers, pit barrels. And, some of them need more space. As in competition. Have you done competition before?
Oh, I would
say, as you know.
I don't know. I would never do competition. No way. Now, I love talking to people that do it. I would never do it. There's just no way.
No, you know what? We're going to do a competition together. I'm going to force you.
There's just no way that's going to happen, but okay.
So I think, as far as competition is concerned, I think that'll be a great model for that in particular realm.
All right. And so that we'll say that's a 2020 offering to be determined.
Correctamundo.
All right. Last thing I want to talk to you about, and I appreciate the time tonight, is the NBBQA. That's going to be in Louisville this year. I think it's the first weekend in April, if I'm not mistaken. So I had seen Noah at the one in Fort Worth like 2 years ago, I think it was, and he was kind of like flying through and did a talk, blah, blah, blah. It looked really good. And this year, since it's like in your backyard, is there anything exceptional or additional that you guys are going to be helping out with or taking part in?
There are a few things. So yes, it's held in Louisville. Obviously, we're based in Louisville, and it's I think there's going to be a lot of classes held at one place, and then towards the end of the week, I think Friday and Saturday, we're going to do. I think there's 2 State Cook-Off Association deals that we're doing, and then I think there's a whole hog class. So, yes, we're going to host those at Pit Barrel headquarters. It's going to be awesome. We're totally excited.
All right. So if you're going to be around that area, grab the tickets, and people will also get to see your facility as kind of, like an added value and see what the whole Pit Barrel experience is like.
Yeah, we can give them a tour, and, we're looking forward to that. And when they had reached out and said that it was going to be in Louisville, we were just like, oh, that'd be awesome to take part and help out with that.
Yeah, good synergies. We're talking with Amber Glanville, Vice President of Pit Barrel Cooker, the website pitbarrelcooker.com. Don't forget about the contest that's going through next Monday, so make sure you're on that if you want to win some cold, hard cash that will make it to your hands before Christmas. And Amber, really appreciate the time this evening. Please pass all my well wishes to your boys and Noah and everybody else out there at Pit Barrel. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks so much for having me. Happy holidays to everybody.
You got it. There she is, the Vice President of Pit Barrel Cooker, Amber Glanville. And we had breaking news.
A Barbecue Central Show exclusive news update.
Yeah, we did. Breaking news desk in Cleveland, Ohio. Pit Barrel Cooker is going to be coming out with some kind of a 50, 55, or in that realm cooker, a bigger cooker than the current traditional Pit Barrel cooker. Well, let's all start brainstorming names so we can enter them in, and we'll run our own contest and charge them additional money. The Pit Barrel Cooker XL. Join the Pit Barrel Lucian with the XL. Or something along these lines.
Get your hands on a Pit Barrel Cooker today, XL.
Now, that would have been a lot more impressive if I could have worked the mute buttons a little bit better.
Are you ready to step up your Pit Barrel game? Get the XL today.
Just trying out my new radio voice. Hey, that was Amber Glanville. from Pit Barrel Cooker. Attention, folks, in the business of barbecue. Established in 1882, Southside Market and Barbecue, the oldest barbecue joint in Texas. They've been owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations. Offering premium Central Texas barbecue products, slow smoked over real wood. Shipping, distributing, manufacturing sausages for companies across the U.S. From food trucks to multi-chain restaurants, Southside Sausage can be on your menu too. All meats are processed in their on-site USDA-inspected facility, a trusted partner with a focus on food quality and authenticity. Wholesale options available, shipping nationwide via FedEx. Food service distribution channels like Sysco, U.S. Foods, and Martin Foods can do it as well. Co-packaging capable, right? From research and development to package completion, they can follow your recipe or help you develop something brand new from scratch. Private label opportunities are also available. That's really neat. You can use all of the Southside Market and Barbecue products, slap your logo and packaging on them, and resell them as Barbecue Central Brisket or Barbecue Central Beef Sausage. But it's really made by Southside Market because they know what they're doing. Private label, see? Yes. If you're going to shop online, SouthsideMarket.com, do yourself a favor. Send 10% or save 10% off each order by using the code BBQ Central. That's BBQ CENTRAL, all one word, lowercase, BBQ Central, and you get 10% off each order at SouthsideMarket.com. The first order, yes. The 741st order, yes. It's good each and every time. Save the 10. BBQ Central is the code. We are back with Dion Blumenrader from Big Hoss One Sauce. See how the year's ending up. Smokin' Joe wants me to say something in the big voice.
Try my salty chocolate nuts.
That's what you wanted me to say. Try my salty chocolate nut. But Sweaty Balls doesn't want any of that. Sweaty Ballsack doesn't want any of that. Pete Sweaty doesn't want any of that. All right, we're back with Dion. Stick around.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by the Smoke Sheet. It's a free weekly newsletter that keeps you in the know on everything happening in the barbecue world, created by Ryan Cooper and Sean Ludwig. Go to bbqnewsletter.com. A great all-in-one resource covering the live fire industry. Have you subbed up yet? You got to sub up. All right, helping me close it out tonight is the topic of the 2019 Barbecue Central Show documentary. I have heard through rumored circles that this might be up for some type of documentary award. And yes, I am kidding. We're tracking the progress. And now, through actual release of the Big Hoss One Sauce, we welcome back friend of show and the creator of One Sauce, Dion Blumenrader. Hey, Dion.
Hey, how you doing, Greg?
I'm fabulous, my pal. And here we go. We are ending 2019, and this is the, let's call it the final quarter report. So as you would remember, all the way back in the first quarter of 2019, we were talking about getting this bad boy off the ground and hurdles you were running into and having to overcome, things you were learning. It was the learning process, right? I mean, you were pretty much starting from the ground up. So before we do an evaluation of where we're ending 2019. As you look back through the last 11 months, what kind of a high-level process has this been for you? And more importantly, if we were to turn around and do it all again from scratch next year, knowing what you know now, would you do it?
I think I would, but boy, would I do things differently. This has been a huge learning experience for me.
What are the biggest things that you would look to change or wish you would have known? Because that was the other idea of this whole process, was to be able to document what you were going through. So in case somebody else had this bright idea of bringing their sauce to market, we could go back and reference this and say, okay, well, here's what Dion said about these few things, and he wasn't too satisfied, or he would have changed this or that to make it easier, and that's how they're going to implement. So what are some of those things that you would do differently right off the bat?
One of the biggest things I think I would have done differently is a larger test sample, expand it out and gather more opinions from just other than just our friends and family, and find out if there really was a demand or could be a demand for the product that I was putting out there. I wish I would have done a larger test sample, because it's not everybody's going to like it. And that's what I've kind of found out. You're talking to your friends and family, and they all say, "Oh yeah, it's wonderful. You got to put this tomorrow. This is great. You got to do this."
Yeah, nobody's reaching into their wallet and fishing out fives and 20s and thousands, though, to help you finance that deal, are they, Dean?
Yes, exactly right. And I've had a blast doing it. But it's been put on the back burner right now. And I talked to you before about it. My biggest stumbling block that I run into, that I never, not knowing anything about the sauce business, I wasn't going to know about this, but when you take a sauce to market and you have to build in a shelf life into your product, that's what we found out with our sauce, is it drastically changed the flavor of what I was trying to put out there. And when we went to packaging with it, I wasn't happy with what come out of that packing.
What kind of a change in flavor did you think it brought to it? So, I mean, as someone who knows in your mind what the right one sauce is supposed to taste like after it gets through whatever shelf stability things they have to put in it, how did it change, or where does it change on the palate?
Originally, when I come up with one sauce, and the thing that everybody liked about it was it was unique, it was different, but it was sweet. I never set out to have a vinegar-based sauce or a tangy sauce like that. Mine was a sweet sauce, because barbecue sauces or sauces that are popular tend to be sweet. People like sweet. So I had that. That's what I was running with. And when we went to packaging, we had to put in so much of preservatives to build the shelf life into it, which I understand that's how this is done. Now I know, anyway, that it changed the flavor, and all of a sudden it took my sauce and made it into a tangy or a vinegary sauce. And that's never what I intended that to be. I didn't like what it had become when we got done with the final product.
So is there a way, and I'm sure you've had conversations with the co-packer, I guess there's multiple different questions. This is great that we're going to get into the weeds on this. Can you have a conversation with the co-packer who is telling you, you need to build in a certain amount of shelf stability here? Is that merely because between the time they package it and then it gets shipped to a store, and then maybe there's a thought or some type of a model to say, regardless of what sauce it is that's going to sit on a shelf for X amount of time, you need to have that built in as some kind of a safety window? Or can you tell this guy, hey, F you, I don't want any preservatives, it's going to change the way it tastes, or maybe we didn't know that up front, and I want to sell it just like this, and if it has to come off the shelves quicker, then so be it, but I don't want to sacrifice that.
Yeah, that was an option, and we talked about that. But the only way to get around it would have been refrigeration. My sauce would have had to been in a refrigerated aisle, which would have been a whole different set of problems as far as logistics and getting it out there and transportation, and it was going to be that would have taken me off into a direction I just don't have the time to do. So I needed to stick with the 9 to 12 months shelf life process, but I don't want to do it the way we did it. There are other ways. I've been busy at home here with our farming, and I haven't had time to do the research as I need to, but I'm going to find a way to pH balance this sauce that doesn't change the flavor of it. I'm going to figure out how to do that.
Is there no other way to do it, or is there nothing else that you can add? So let's say you keep it the way it is now. There's nothing that you can add into it as one extra ingredient to get to the flavor profile you want?
We think there is. We think we can play around with what my ingredients already are. We think we can play around with the ratios of it and increase the acidity in it with what's already in it. But we're gonna have to do test sample after test sample and try these different ratios. And again, there it comes back to sampling. Everyone's gonna have to tell us, yeah, that's what the one sauce, that's what it tasted like.
Yeah.
And it's gonna take a long time to get to that point. But I am going to work on that. Me and my friend that went down there with me, we brainstormed all the way back from Colorado after that trip because my head was hanging low because I really wasn't happy with what we come home with. He was telling me, oh, it's going to be okay. We can just do this, or he was trying to convince me, oh, people are probably going to like this better. Well, some people did. A lot of people told me they did, and a lot of people didn't. And in the end, I'm the one that wasn't happy with it, and I'm not going to push a product or put a product out there that I personally ain't happy with, and I wasn't.
All right, so we have some work to do as we press into next year, whenever that happens. As you said, this has become a bit of a back burner project because you have real job farming stuff to do. But what are we looking at from at the end of the year? We're all in expense. You have the product. How much have you sold, and where are we at now between a full expense layout and recapturing any kind of money to recover some expense?
We haven't. I've sold very little of it. In fact, we went down there with an intention of making a 200-gallon batch, and I ended up only coming home or doing a 50-gallon batch, which I'm glad I did because otherwise I would have really been stuck with a lot of this stuff that was going to be hard for me to sell because first off, it's hard for me to sell something I don't like, and I'm not going to sit there and try to lie to people and tell them you need to buy this. It's wonderful because I don't really believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad I did cut it back, and that trimmed a lot of my expenses off. So I'm below 10,000, but I'm still pushing it. I'm at like $7,500 that I've got invested in this, and then that's enough money invested in it that I can't just drop this.
Right.
I have to keep pushing it and see where the end is going to be. And if I keep running into brick walls and I can't go any further, at least I'll know I tried and I did the best I could. But right now, that's about what I've got invested in it.
Where, are there places they can go? There's some people in the chat room that are asking about it. Is there a website or somewhere where they could inquire about grabbing a couple bottles just to see if it's up their taste profile?
I don't have any of that stuff done yet either, because when we got back with the product, I thought, well, I can't push this. I don't want to open up a chain of or an avenue for people to buy this because I don't really want to push it yet. I sent it out to you, and I sent it out to the embedded correspondence. I wanted everyone's opinions and that's all over the the U.S. So I got a lot of good feedback from everybody. I'm going to use that, but as far as putting it out there and selling it yet, I just don't want to. I don't want that to be your representation of what one sauce tastes like. I want it to be what I believe in, to be what you taste.
So where are we gonna pick up next year? Are we? Do we want to agree here right now that we'll continue to do quarterly reports, or do you think that this back burner might become extinguished at some point?
No, I'm not quitting. The only thing, the boring details of the farming is that we've had a wetter year here than we've ever had my entire life. So the farming is been drug out all summer long, and we're still harvesting corn.
Oh, wow.
And will be till the middle of January, it looks like. It's a slow process. We've got early snowfalls, and that makes everything difficult. So my focus is getting the crop out of the field, and then I'm going to focus back on one sauce. So I would love, if you would have me, I would love to keep informing you of the process.
Oh yeah, I mean this is great stuff. As I said, we get to hear a lot of insider stuff that people aren't willing. The thing that I think sticks out to the most to me in this conversation is, and it's one thing that I've said time and time again, whether it's having family over and they're eating your free barbecue that they're giving you, and maybe you do it every week or a couple times a month, or you make a homemade sauce. I make a homemade sauce. Everybody tells me it's just the best thing ever and I should put it on the market. And I say, you know what, fuck you, because you can say that to me, but you're not going to help me, right? I mean, you're encouraging me, but when it comes to put down Benjamins on the table, those are going to be my Benjamins, and that's something that I just don't want to get caught up on. So I continue not to do it, but there has to be people like you, Dion, that decide that you have a belief, you know that you can do it. If it's right and it's something you can believe in, that you can actually make a go of it. And I think that's extremely admirable. We need to have those risk takers out there in order to continue to push the sauce agenda and the sauce envelope. And I think that's what you're doing. And I mean, who knows, the stuff that you have now could fit into a completely different demographic, or somebody could get a hold of it and try it on something, and all of a sudden it's being used in a completely different way, and then you get the one sauce going the way you want it, and now you have two different avenues when you thought the first one blew up in your face. So we never know what time and distance is going to show up with us, but the fact that you're coming on here and helping us with all these questions that a lot of people would have if they're going to market is certainly appreciated here by this show, and I'm happy to have you back once a quarter next year so we can track your business.
I'd love that. I can't say enough, Greg, for everything you've done for me. I really, really appreciate it, and I'm having a really good time with this.
All right. Well, this is Dion Blumenrader, the creator of Big Hoss One Sauce. Dion, have a great holiday, and we will talk to you again next year.
You also, Greg. We'll talk to you later.
All right. There he is, Dion Blumenrader, everybody. Yeah, that's right. Big Hoss One Sauce. Oh, it breaks my heart. It's back burnered. Thank God. Can you imagine if you had 200 gallons of something? Here's what I think. What's most admirable about the whole deal is, if it were me being a businessman and having skin in the game, I would still try to figure out a way to peddle. And he's like, I can't do that because it's not my sauce. It's not what I like. It's not how I envision it. So I'm not going to sell it to somebody. I mean, would it be the worst vacillating proposition ever that if he happened to get it in front of somebody that saw it in this completely different way that I'm talking about, and all of a sudden it became this monstrous success? And then you have poor Dion over here going, oh my God, now I'm making 10,000 gallons of this sauce a month, and I hate it. This isn't my sauce, but it's selling like hot. What a terrible, vacillating situation that would be. Or maybe if he's selling 10,000 after the second month, he'd get over that. Hey, I got a song to play for you when we come back. Stick around, be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. You've never heard this before. You might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Craig Rimpey.
And because I have a show historian at my fingertips, I am able to produce for you because, oh, by the way, programming note, there will be a live show next week. It will be, not only that, folks, it will be 2 hours of embedded correspondence. That's right. We will close out the year in grand, spectacular fashion. I'm sure there will be not even 1 free minute left, so let me do this while I can. I had mentioned the 12 days of barbecue. Okay. The 12 days of barbecue Christmas. This was from a date that I don't remember right off the top of my head. My kids were very young. We were in our old house. The guys from Hot Grill on Grill Action are getting credited with lyrics. However, the singing, and I use that term very loosely, and the music is all Barbecue Central show. So I give to you for your listening pleasure the 12 days of barbecue Christmas.
To you,
That's weird. Something just happened? All right, we'll try that again. Actually, just go ahead and download this bad boy right quick onto the desktop. I do want to replace it. Thank you. Which means it was somewhere.
let me unveil to you the Centralites, the 12 days of barbecue Christmas. Lyrics credited to, of course, the guys over at Hot Grill on Grill Action. So, ladies, you ready to rock and roll here? On the first day of Christmas, my barbecue gave to me a case of cold Coors Light. On the second day of Christmas, my barbecue gave to me 2 chimney starters and a case of cold Coors Light. On the third day of Christmas, my barbecue gave to me 3 pork cases, 2 chimney starters, and a case of cold Coors Light. On the fourth day of Christmas, my barbecue gave to me 4 packs for sugar, 3 pork cases, 2 chimney starters, and a case of cold Coors Light. On the 5th day of Christmas, my barbecue gave to me 5 Weber bullets, 4 packs brown sugar, 3 pork cases, 2 chimney starters, and a case of cold Coors Light. On the 6th day of Christmas, my barbecue gave to me 6 thermometers probing, 5 Weber bullets, 4 packs brown sugar, 3 pork cases, 2 chimney starters, and a case of cold Coors Light. On the 7th day of Christmas, my barbecue gave to me 7 cold bags burning, 6 thermometers probing, 5 Weber bullets, 4 packs brown sugar, 3 pork cases, 2 chimney starters, and a case of cold Coors Light. On the 8th day of Christmas, my barbecue came to me 8 spring, 7 cold bags burning, 6 thermometers probing, 5 Weber bullets, 4 packs brown sugar, 3 pork cases, 2 chimney starters, and a case of cold Coors Light. On the 10th day of Christmas, my barbecue gave to me 10 pans of foiling, 9 logs of smoking, 8 apple juice spraying, 7 cold bags burning, 6 thermometers oh, I messed up. 4 packs brown sugar, 3 pork cases, 2 chimney starters, and a case of cold Coors Light. 10. On the 10th day of Christmas, my barbecue gave to me 10 pans of foiling, 9 logs of smoking, 8 apple juice spraying, 7 cold bags burning, 6 thermometers probing, 5 Weber bullets, 4 packs brown sugar, 3 pork cases, 2 chimney starters, and a case of cold Coors Light. On the 11th day of Christmas, my barbecue gave to me 11 butters melting, 10 pans of foiling, 9 logs of smoking, 8 apple juice spraying, 7 cold bags burning, 6 thermometers probing, 5 Weber bullets, 4 packs brown sugar, 3 pork cases, 2 chimney starters, and a case of cold Coors Light. On the 12th day of Christmas, my barbecue gave to me 12 spices blending, 11 butters melting, 10 pans of foiling, 9 logs of smoking, 8 apple juice spraying, 7 cold bags burning, 6 thermometers probing, 8 Weber bullets, 4 plates brown sugar, 3 pork cases, 2 chimney starters, and a case of cold Coors Light. Yeah!
Wow, wait. How about that? 12 days of barbecue Christmas brought to you by your friends at Hot Grill on Grill Action. I think like 5 years ago, they solicited to me to replay that, and now it's kind of become a yearly Christmas holiday type song. We go back to the 12 days of barbecue Christmas. That was sung, as you could probably not believe, live on the show. Believe it or not, live on the show. One Take Charlie, right there. A classic song for the ages as we get ready for the last show of the year coming up on Christmas Eve. That's right. I'm going to make the time. The embedded correspondents are going to make the time. So you better make the time as well. All the way back in the first hour, Stephen Raichlen, BarbecueBible.com, Robyn Lindars, GrillGirl.com. Second hour, Amber Glanville, PitBarrelCooker.com, and Dion Blumenrader, Big Hoss One Sauce. Closing it out with 12 Days of Barbecue Christmas. If you want a copy of 12 Days of Barbecue Christmas, and I don't know why you would, email me, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. I am happy to help you out in that regard and kick you the file. Make sure you give proper credit to Hot Grill on Grill Action on the lyrics right, and me and my daughters on the singing. All right, we'll see you back here on Christmas Eve for a special Embedded Correspondence Edition, September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
This is Meat Mitch, and you're listening to the Barbecue Central.